All right. We are back, and the question, it was, what is your favorite car? They said their favorite car is an Audi. We are back. If you're back on here, please let us know. I actually will hold that question off and answer. Okay, you're back. Okay, so now you can answer the question. They said, what is your favorite car? Theirs is an Audi.
Um, Mine is going to be along the lines of Toyota Supra and Nissan GTR. Two really nice inline sixes that, you put a turbocharger on them, they'll run with a V8 all day.
Okay.
Proper tuning and build, of course, and everything else, but I like the underdog.
Said good cars. Okay, what are three main functions for transmission fluid?
What do you mean three main functions for transmission fluid?
I don't know. It's a question they asked.
Transmission fluid is basically like a form of hydraulic fluid. You have a torque converter that basically uses that transmission fluid along with you shifting gears to put pressure on different plates that will actually activate different gears on the inside of the transmission. So I hope that's what you meant by that question.
I don't know. They typed it in. What is a directional tire?
A directional tire is a tire that basically has a direction that you can only mount one direction. Most tires, you can flip them, twist them, and turn them, different ways on the rim per se. But a directional tire, it has to be mounted on the rim a certain way, and it has to be mounted on the car a certain way, so that the way that tire is rolling in that direction, for the best life out of that tire, and for that tire to be able to do what it was meant to do.
What are three main types of brake pads? I thought there's more than one.
You have your basic brake pad, you have your mid-grade brake pad, and you have something like your ceramic brake pad. The difference in the brake pads is, long story short, as you get into the higher, more expensive, that pad is softer. It's a pad that's easier on your rotors versus the first one, the first level brake pad. Long story short, you can get those, and they're going to be more likely for noise, and sometimes they can last longer, but they're going to be a lot harder on your rotors, which means that when you go get a brake job, you might have to replace your rotors a little bit more often.
He said, what was your first car?
My first car was a Nissan Altima. I got it at 17 years old when nobody else in my household had a car.
What is the enemy of a rusty bolt?
WD-40 and PB Blaster.
Okay. How do you compress the piston in most rear calipers?
A lot of rear calipers have a tool that you actually install into the caliper, and you actually have to twist that piston to actually cause it to compress. You cannot use a regular situation where you just try to push the piston in with a screwdriver or this, that, and the other.
Okay, and will an alignment issue cause a vibration?
Yes, an alignment issue can cause a vibration, because an alignment issue can lead to tires being not wearing the correct way, and that in turn can lead to a vibration once that tire burns enough meat on it.
How do you correctly brake bleed?
To correctly brake bleed, you basically release the piston starting from the furthest to the master cylinder. So that would be your left, your right rear. So you go to your right rear, you go back over to your driver's side rear, then go up to your passenger side front, and then end at your driver's side front. When you are releasing the brakes, you have somebody pump the brakes about 3 times, pretty much hard for the most part, and on the 4th time, have them hold the brakes as you release the pistons, and that's how you get that done.
Okay, so what skills do you think a mechanic needs?
The main skill a mechanic needs is patience. Patience and the ability to do research when research is needed. A lot of mechanics might, want to just kind of jump in there and just kind of go get things done for the most part. But I always believe in doing your research, because a lot of times there's one step that you might not know about. There might be something different on a car that you hadn't worked on, and just by doing your research on it, you will find that out, and that'll be a headache that will save you a lot of time and money.
He said facts. Okay, so someone said my car is overheating and the upper radiator hose is significantly cooler than the lower hose. What is wrong with my car? What's the issue?
A lot of times that it can be as simple as a thermostat. Sometimes you could have clogs or restriction in different pathways. You could have a cracked head gasket. You could even have a fan that's not coming on. That's normally not going to cause a restriction, but that's something that you definitely want to have diagnosed with a professional, so that way you don't get misled.
Describe the most challenging repair task you have handled.
The most challenging was installing an engine by myself for the very first time, because the way I took the engine out, long story short, the transmission kept moving on me. So I ended up wedging some stuff in certain areas of the car to make that stay where I needed it to, where I wiggled that engine and smacked it in place and then bolted it up and got it done.
Someone said I have a 2001 Honda Civic and my engine needs to be repaired. The dealership or mechanic I'm taking it to is trying to charge me $1 million just to rebuild my engine. Is that too much, or should I go somewhere else?
In today's world, I don't really trust technicians to rebuild engines. My recommendation would be to go to some place professional, like a professional salvage yard such as LKQ. They're salvage yards that basically, LKQ is a salvage yard that gets engines nationwide, and they get them out of certain cars that they will be able to warranty the engine. So sometimes you would be better off just grabbing another engine from them and having that engine installed in your car.
Okay. The next one is I got a diagnostic scan on my new scanner. I'm trying to learn about cars, and it's saying random misfire code. What's my next step?
Random misfire code can basically be on pretty much any cylinder. However, a random misfire code could also be something as simple as your intake not being completely sealed, or you could actually have a vacuum leak. So that again is going to require the diagnostic of a professional. You might need a smoke machine to actually put on there. You need to be able to check your heads, make sure you don't have any valves or anything like that leaking. But I would definitely start simple. Start with things like spark plugs. If you know you hadn't had a tune-up in a while, change your spark plugs, change your wires. You might have a distributor cap and rotor. Assess those things as well, and then go from there. But it can go as intricate as being an internal engine problem if that problem persists.
Why did you become a mechanic?
When I was growing up, I was always working on bikes. I never thought I wanted to work on a car because, long story short, I said a car has too many parts and everything like that, until somebody older than me showed me how to do one thing on a car, and it sparked something, and I started learning each system one by one. And once you learn each system one by one, every system in the car, then it doesn't become as much, because you know that with a scanner and the tools of today, you can narrow it down to the place where you exactly need to go.
Is being a mechanic hard?
Being a mechanic can be stressful because a car can't talk to you like you going to a doctor and tell you what its problems are. You literally have to pinpoint, diagnose, sometimes step by step. And if you're willing to do the work and get the knowledge, once you get to that point, it's not as hard as it seems. It's about getting to that point, because a car has so many things, so many systems constantly changing, and you're either going to keep up or you're not.
What other components should you replace when doing a timing belt?
It depends on whether or not your timing belt is water pump driven and what it drives. If it drives a water pump, you want to change the water pump. You want to change all your components. Doing a timing belt, there's a lot of things that you have to take off. So when you're in there doing a timing belt, it's better to change things and have to go back in there to change them if they go bad at a later time.
They said, I'm surprised Brandon is not here. Brandon is here. He said hi. He said hi a while ago. He's just not, I don't guess he's not chiming in. But he's here. Brandon, you got your own fans on my podcast. Say what's up. See, there you go. He said, LOL, hey everybody. Fighting a headache, but I'm here. Well, I hope your headache get better, Brandon. You must have listened for a long time to know about Brandon. Okay. Hope you're okay, bro. Aw. He just said he has a headache. I think he's gonna be okay other than that. Okay, Brandon said, yeah, I'm fine. I just have a little headache, so I'm listening and laughing, but I don't know if I'm gonna participate too much. Maybe if they get to sexy questions. You are so...
We'll be there in a minute.
We'll be there in a minute, Brandon. Okay, next question. Is a tire plug a reliable repair method?
A tire plug is a reliable repair method. However, a patch is always better. A patch does not destroy the integrity of your tire, such as a tire plug. My advice would be to only get a tire plug if your tread is actually at the point to where it's fairly low and you might be replacing the tire in the near future, because you have wires on the inside of your tire and wires and wire bands, and every time you plug your tire, you're breaking the integrity of that. So yes, a plug can hold up for a long time, but if you have a newer tire, I would recommend patching it from the inside. That way you're not taking away from the integrity of your tire.
Okay, next is my car's AC is blowing warm and it's low on refrigerant. Will refilling the system fix my problems?
Yes, it can fix your problems, but just for a small time. If it's low on refrigerant is technically not supposed to leak. So that means that you have a leak in there, and just prepare for a technician to say, hey, we need to replace everything. And the reason why is because a lot of places won't want to warranty certain components of your AC if other components are not replaced, because for instance, if you have a compressor that goes bad, it can let off other debris in the system and everything like that, and recirculates the debris around your system into your condenser through your evaporator. If it's not properly flushed, and it can cause damage to other components such as orifice tubes or expansion valves, this, that, and the other. So the professional shop is going to want to say, hey, we want to replace everything minus certain parts, and those certain parts that we don't replace, we're going to want to do an AC flush on them. We're going to flush them out, and that's why AC can get expensive. So if you want to fix it right, then that's what's needed.
They said, I've been here for 2 years. Really? I have never seen one of your comments before. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for being here. You've been shy. That's okay. I really appreciate the fact that you are participating now. Wow, 2 years. You've been with me since the beginning. Since damn near the beginning. Thank you. I really appreciate you being a fan. I mean, you just like Brandon and Brandon's been here since the beginning. Thank you so much. So you listened to my earlier shows and everything. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. When you feel more comfortable, shout out your name and city or a name you want us to call us, and I would definitely give you a shout out, just like I do Brandon all the time. Even though he irritates my soul sometimes, I love Brandon. We love Brandon up here. Okay, the next question is, what is a telltale sign of underinflated tires?
Underinflated tires is going to kind of be the opposite of the overinflated tires. It's not going to so much be the middle. It might be the sides, and depending on where the position of your tire is on the front or the back of your car, make a difference. But usually when there's weight on your tire, you could actually kind of see your tire pancaking at the bottom just a little bit. That's something that I would pay good attention for. And also just grab your tire pressure gauge. Your tire is supposed to be in the neighborhood of probably 32 to maybe 40 pounds on your average tire.
Okay. So we're down to our last 15 seconds. I'm going to end this and start another one to continue mechanic questions. Then it's going to be dirty questions. Let me say okay in the comments if you hear me. 5 seconds. All right, be right back.